In 1978, Bruce was hired on to just be like a little part-time announcer, a little side announcer. The Long Beach Grand Prix was sponsored by Toyota, and the announcers start advertising Datsun commercials, and the promoter got really mad, and he went up to Bruce and he said, "Bruce, I want those guys out of there. You're just our side announcer. You get in the booth. I just fired those guys and you be our announcer for tonight." And Bruce went in the booth and he started announcing, and the rest was history. Bruce announced the Long Beach Grand Prix with his friend Terry Ike Clatton. For many years, Bruce and Terry were a team. While announcing in Long Beach Grand Prix, Bruce went ahead and did the ugliest Hawaiian t-shirt contest. Only he started it, and then all of a sudden there's a couple people the next year, and then the whole stands was full of ugly t-shirts. I'm wearing my ugly Hawaiian shirt today to honor Bruce Flanders. For 50 years, Bruce Flanders has dazzled the sports fans all over the world. He did so many things. He was the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach announcer. He did the 1982 Speedway World Championship at the LA Coliseum. He did the GP series at Laguna Seca. The MX World Championship at Glen Helen. Ascot Park. Bruce did everything from cars to motorcycles to speedway at Ascot. He announced the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Challenge. I remember Bruce at Irwindale Speedway in Irwindale, California. He did this Paris Speedway. He did lots of car racing at Paris. He announced the OCIR motorcycle races and drag races. I started racing and practicing at OCIR. He announced the GP series at the Saddleback. I was just a little boy listening to Bruce Flanders razzle and dazzle the crowd at Saddleback. Bruce just did everything. Bruce was an amazing announcer. He was just the voice. And that baritone voice, his banter, Bruce had it all. Bruce was with Terry Ike Clatton and did Evel Knievel's last interview just before he died in the early 2000s. Bruce Flanders was a part of that history at the Haunted Saloon. Bruce did so many motorsports, but his first love was what? Speedway. Bruce loved his Speedway family. If there was a Speedway event to do, Bruce was there. Other sports he kind of liked to do, but the speedway, Bruce loved to do speedway. In 2008, Bruce was diagnosed with COPD. It's a damage of the lungs, and Bruce was given only 18 months to live. However, Bruce defied the odds. He showed everybody wrong. Bruce lived an extra 12 years later, but he did it by quitting his smoking, by exercising. He got some damage to his lungs while he was in the Vietnam War. I guess it was called Agent Orange. He had some of that in his lungs. And also his father's welding shop when he was a young boy. He breathed a lot of fumes. So all that led to unhealthy lungs. And we wish that never happened to Bruce. But Bruce lived 74 years, amazing 74 years. He probably lived 140, 150 years in those 74 years. Bruce sadly passed away August 14th, 2020, last Friday. Bruce was just an amazing announcer, amazing guy. He was just friendly. He had that keen banter, that sense of humor that just nobody had. Bruce was just beloved by all. The silver lining to this story, if there is a silver lining, is that he will join his beloved wife, Vicky. She passed away in 2018 after 37 years of happy marriage. We know that Bruce is happy now with his beloved wife. He said in 2018 he never cried so much. Bruce said he never knew he could cry so much as when his beloved wife, Vicky, passed away. Bruce leaves behind his two brothers, John and Paul. And his son, Michael, and his daughter, Megan. He leaves behind all of his Speedway family, his best friend, Terry I. Clanton. And the whole motorsport world. Bruce Flanders, you will be sorely missed. Your golden voice, your amazing personality, your sense of humor. Well, that's it. That Bruce Flanders story. An amazing human being, an amazing life. We honor you, Bruce. We pay respect, and we appreciate all the memories you gave us. We hold those in our hearts, so we appreciate everything. Bruce Flanders, an amazing voice. 1946 to 2020. We're going to miss you, Bruce, and we appreciate all that you did for us in your 74 years. So thank you so much. Rest in peace, my friend.